it's adequate on the power side for sure. Like I said, it's adequate. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2020 Range Rover Evoque. By the way, this one is in the SE package. A huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover Range Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for providing us with this Evoque. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get into the video. Under the hood of the Evoque, we have a turbocharged 4-cylinder that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 20 around town and then 27 on the highway, with power outputs being 246 horsepower and then 269 pound-feet of torque. Now before we go over the front end, well, we do have to pop the lights on, so you guys can see that you can pop the lights on with the key, which I think is a nice little function. But going over the rest of it, this kind of almost looks like just a mini Range Rover. I mean, that's really what the Evoque is. So you got like all the same, well, similar details, right? You still have the cool like LED lights, and again, it's just kind of like a little bit smaller. Parking sensors all along the front, but again, you still get like those really nice Range Rover looks, but obviously this one's going to be a lot less money. Now coming to the side here, we've got two 35mm tires and 20-inch rims in the front and in the rear as well. Now in terms of the rim setup itself, I love the design that they've done on the rims. I love that they're also all blacked out. I think it does really well with a particular paint color on this, and they do more black accents. You can see there's some black accent here on the side, the mirrors, and then down at the bottom it's just like a full line that goes across it. But here is kind of like your full side angle look at the Evoque. Here is the key fob for the Evoque. You have a couple functions. You've got your unlock function, your lock, you've got the function to turn the lights on at the front. You guys have seen that in a bunch of my Range Rover videos. And then this is to release the tailgate. So just press that. I mean, it just pops open like instantly. Now actually coming into the trunk, we do have a little 12-volt right here, so you could charge some stuff in the back. The cargo cover is built into the whole functionality of the trunk, which I think is pretty cool. So obviously your cargo won't be exposed. And then this does come with a spare tire, so there's this little loop that you do have to lift up under all of this, and then the spare tire is just underneath with the jack and all that kind of stuff, so they make it easy on you if you do have to actually put the spare in. I think it's cool that it says Range Rover right there. But yeah, other than that, that's everything for the rear. It's a decent amount of cargo space, and then when you are all done, just press the little button at the top and the hatch will pop back down. Now coming to the rear here, the Evoque has that same really cool 3D look with the taillights, just like the Velar has, so I really like that look. Now that's 250 PS, obviously 246 horsepower, but that's how you know roughly about the power output on the Evoque, is just that little badging right there. I like the blacked out Range Rover badging as well. Parking sensors integrated to the bottom of it, but in terms of the rear design, definitely like signature Range Rover design. Now if you weren't convinced, this is super similar to the Velar. I mean, it even has little door handles that pop out like that, but here is the door panel in the back. They use really nice materials. So you got all this soft touch at the top with nice stitching, more soft touch down below, and they do nice black trim all throughout. And then here is the seat for the back. I really like that quilted design at the top of the seat, but in terms of the feel here in the rear seats, definitely a really nice like plush feel. Let's pop in for a second. So you do have to duck just a little bit. If you're wondering, I'm about 5'11" and actually have a good amount of headroom even with this sunroof. They do give you a little storage pocket right here. Rear passengers do get a couple vents, some heated seats, and then down below you can see all of the little stations right there, like the 12-volt for example. And then here's what the little center console looks like in the back. Just has a couple of cup holders in it, and that's everything for the rear. Up front, we do get that same keyless entry, mirror will power fold out, and do have blind spot monitoring on it. Now, opening up the door panel here in the front, it looks pretty much identical to the one in the rear. The only thing I want to mention, the memory seats are just down there. Well, right down there. Now here is the seat in the front of the Evoque, and again you got that cool quilted design on it. Your adjustments are on the side of the seat. There is the pedal layout at the bottom, and then this is to open up the trunk, and then you got a little parking brake down here, and then here's kind of like just a back view of the steering wheel. But there's one more look before we actually pop in. Well, let's start up the Evoque, so just got to press that and everything will come to life right there in the center and in the screen down there. And here's the steering wheel in the Evoque, and I actually really like this steering wheel just from the material standpoint. So you guys will recognize these two controls on the side from the Velar. Again, I know I'm making a ton of comparisons, but super similar. So you have like the cruise control on this side. This is like your phone control, voice command control, all that. But the really nice part is the steering wheel. So they do Alcantara on the steering wheel. Definitely like a sporty feel to it. I think it looks great as well. And then just behind it, you've got the stock for like the turn signal, for example. And then over here, you've got the windshield wiper stock. So first and foremost, over there on the left side, you've got the speed. On the right side, you've got the RPMs, and then here in the center there's a little configurable screen that you can go through. Just gives you different bits of information. I think the vehicle information is pretty cool because it does show you the vehicle VIN digitally, so it'd be a lot harder for someone to, like, I guess, change the VIN if they stole your vehicle. But yeah, you can basically control a bunch of things from this little center screen. It's good. I like the look of it. Definitely has like a nice modern look. Here's our center screen, and you guys will recognize this from my other videos. Let's go over the camera part of it first. So there is the backup camera that pops up. There's the little trajectory lines too that move. They're just like those yellow lines, and then you can see you do get kind of like a bird's eye view. But if I put it back into park, notice that there is that little camera button right there that you can press as well. And when you do press that camera button, it just gives you a couple different views of just your surroundings. So it will make parking the Evoque a whole lot easier. Now, I've showed this infotainment system quite a few times, so I'm not going to get too into depth, and of course I accidentally press a control right there. But the things you need to know, they have a sidebar with shortcuts to pretty much everything, so it's super easy to use. You can tilt this screen just like in the Velar. So if I go to the settings and then I just basically press the screen angle, notice that I can tilt it, so I can make it so that there's more or less glare depending on the time of day, which is just a really nice feature. So good infotainment system, good response time, and you can actually tilt it, which is cool. Now all of you will recognize this from the Velar as well. So this is where you can customize the seats, for example, and it's pretty cool. So like you can press in the controls, and now you can basically change the climate, or you can just press the button at the top of the screen, whichever you prefer. But again, it's just nice that you have these little shortcuts to basically go through everything on this screen. Now there is the little vehicle part, and this is going to be associated with the different drive modes. So just like on other Range Rovers I reviewed, they have several different drive modes you can go through. So you got like Eco, for example, and then you have a bunch of different modes for the off-road. So you can see you've got your grass, gravel, and snow. And then next to that one, you've got your mud, ruts. And then this one, man, maybe not the most hardcore, but pretty cool. You've got the sand mode, which I think it'd be fun to take this out in some dunes, but just gonna pop it back into normal for now. We had a couple controls hiding in this area. I just want to show you, this is where the stability control is, and then also the hill descent control. Now this is the shifter. It's actually really easy to use. So you do have to press the button to get into the different gears. Notice that if I just basically push it while it's in park, nothing happens. If I pull it down, it'll go into drive. And then if I just push it up, it'll go up to neutral. If you want to get into reverse, you do have to press the button on the front again. And then what's really cool is you do have the manual shift mode. So if you want to shift the gears yourself with that 9-speed, you can. But this is the thing I think is cool, is you press the P, and it automatically goes in. No matter where you're at, it just, boom, pops it back right into park. Have a couple cup holders here, and then we've got that center console. You guys will remember this again from other Range Rovers, but it's got the two different armrests, which you can move both of them up, or you can just do one or the other. If you're wondering what's in the center console, you've got like a USB, for example, and then you got a 12 volt, and then it is all lined with felt. And then finishing storage up, let's actually show you the glove box. So again, the glove box, it's all lined with felt. In terms of storage, I mean, it's got a good amount of storage space. One thing that I really like is above the glove box, you have really nice soft touch trim. And then even at the very top of the dash, they also continue the nice stitching and the nice trim. Now we've got our sunglass holder up top per normal. Sunroof, and if you guys are wondering, if you just lightly press it, it'll kind of like not do anything. And then if you fully press it, then it'll basically do it automatically. Now the thing that I think is really cool is this has a camera mirror system. So there's this little tab here on the back. If I press it, it's just a regular mirror, but if you press it up, it functions as a camera. So there's nothing impeding your view out the back, which obviously is a nice safety feature. Well, now that we've gone over this actually really beautiful interior, I really like the interior on the Evoque. Let's show you pricing. So this is the window sticker for this particular Evoque. So again, you can see 2020, and that's what this color is called. It's Seoul. I'm not even going to try to pronounce things anymore, but pearl silver. We'll just call it pearl silver because, yeah, I can't pronounce fancy words. But I'm just gonna kind of go on each little parts. You guys can freeze the frame so you can see all the options this has. So this is the original total MSRP. However, this one is part of their certified pre-owned program. You can see that it's got about 5,800 miles. So I'm sure that you'd get a good discount on it. And I mean, certified pre-owned, they always have good warranty programs with those as well. So that all being said, let's take the Evoque out and see how it drives. Let's quickly talk about visibility here in the Evoque before we set off. So visibility over the hood's pretty decent. The only thing is just this like center cluster, this part comes up pretty high, so it does just get in the way just very, very slightly though. There's visibility through your side mirror, and then obviously through the passenger side mirror, and then here's all throughout the rear. And again, just like all of the other Range Rovers, it's just the visibility is really solid. It's really easy to see out of. It's a bunch of very large square windows, so definitely a nice appeal to that. But well, let's set off. Initially setting off here in the 2020 Evoque, let's talk about the road noise and the ride quality so far. And of course I run into a red light when I'm trying to do that. So let's talk about the noise in the cabin while we're at this light quickly, and then obviously we'll get up and going again. So just sitting here, the insulation is actually pretty good. You hear a little bit from the outside, but not a whole lot. The engine just here at an idle, yeah, it's actually really quiet as well. You don't hear a whole lot of engine noise. So if you want kind of like that quiet, more like luxury-based experience, then this is definitely in that category. Now actually getting up and going, let's talk about the road noise and the ride quality when you are moving. So in terms of the ride quality, it's really smooth. Like you don't feel a whole lot coming through. You can definitely tell that you're going over stuff. I mean, that's any vehicle, but I would definitely put this on the upper end in terms of smoothness. Now, in terms of just the overall noise that comes through into the cabin, and geez, that was loud. But in terms of the overall noise that comes into the cabin, even the engine, it's just all really quiet. So this definitely, again, is really good as just a luxury vehicle. So if you want that luxury car feel, then that is where the Evoque is going to shine. Something that I will mention before we get up onto the highway and up to a little bit higher speeds is it would take you just a little bit to get used to this Alcantara steering wheel. Now, I love Alcantara steering wheels. They just have this just really nice feel to them. If you've never felt one, then I would definitely recommend finding a car that has one so you can kind of just feel just what it feels like to grab it. It's just, obviously, it's really nice. So leather, you'll have that kind of like smooth, slippery feel, whereas this has like a smooth feel, but it's just grippier. And I mean, that's what Alcantara is typically used for, right? Is for vehicles where you need to have a lot of grip on the steering wheel, but I love the feel of it. And in terms of handling, it actually handles really well for an SUV. Definitely, I mean, you can feel a little bit of body roll, but just the overall handling on it, it's really solid. It definitely is a little bit on the sportier side, and we'll kind of accelerate just a little here to see. Yeah, so doing kind of like a mild acceleration, it is relatively good. It gets up to speed at a pretty good pace, but you definitely can tell that it is a 4-cylinder. There's no hiding that fact. So I would definitely take that into account if you're a little bit more power hungry. Maybe go for one of the larger engine options that are offered. But yeah, again, it's solid with the acceleration. Now I'm gonna get another acceleration here just from kind of like a lower speed, if that makes sense. Does take a second to gear down. Yeah, again, it's adequate on the power side for sure. Like I said, it's adequate on the power side. But the one thing I will say again is you can tell that it's a 4-cylinder. But I mean, one of the benefits is it's not like too loud and obnoxious and rowdy. It's decently quiet when you accelerate. So if you kind of want like more of a quiet feel, then this definitely would do that for you. Yeah, again, the steering is actually pretty direct for an SUV. Yeah, I like the preciseness of the steering rack. It's real, like I said, it's good for an SUV. I think it's really solid. And something else that I guess that I forgot to mention is just like your seating position. You definitely sit like, not like, it's kind of like in between, right? You definitely have like a little bit higher of a seating position compared to most SUVs. So you kind of just feel like a little bit higher, but it's very small. So if you just kind of like that normal seating position that an SUV gives, then this definitely will fit that. Now, summing things up with this is one of those vehicles where it's kind of difficult for me. So I really like the features, I like the space, I like the handling, but the one thing that keeps like hitting me in the back of my head is I go, okay, but there's this thing called the Range Rover Velar, and that vehicle, in my opinion, just from like an aesthetic standpoint, just looks so much better. And I understand that, you know, most Velars on the market are going to be equipped so that they are more expensive than this. So I get that that's kind of like a price point thing, but if you could afford the Velar, then I think that if you're kind of like, okay, I can afford both of them, which one do I go for? I honestly would lean towards the Velar, just because I like the looks on that a lot better. I like the feel of it. And I mean, if you wanted to go super crazy, obviously you get that with the supercharged V8, right? The Velar SVA that I reviewed just about a week ago or so. And so yeah, I think this Evoque's awesome, but I think the biggest shadow over this car is the fact that the Velar exists, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand. So I know they're not like super comparable. I understand that, guys, but that's just kind of like my thought process on it. There we have it, everyone, the 2020 Range Rover Evoque in the SE trim package. And again, as always, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think, and again, check out Range Rover, Jaguar, and Salt Lake's inventory again. Obviously, they have this one that's certified pre-owned. You can see like this whole line, I'm pretty sure like this whole line is all certified pre-owned, so they've got a ton to choose from, and they've got the new stuff that's like just over there. So yeah, check them out. I will see all of you in that next video.